Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about herbal cleansing again, or a cleanse, but we're going to talk about something that is called the long-term cleanse. When should you do this? Why do you have to do it? And how do you do it? So how are you doing today, Jennifer?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be talking about this today.
Oh yeah, because it's kind of esoteric these days, this kinds of
Yes.
topic, and they should not be. We want to bring it back to the forefront because this could be a powerful healing tool.
Right. Yes. And you know what? There's a lot of controversy around it, but I think it's because people talk about it for weight loss, and that is
Oh,
definitely not your choice for weight loss. Do not do an extended cleanse for weight loss. I repeat, do not do an extended cleanse for weight loss. For weight loss. I do want to say that because it can be very helpful for certain health conditions. Before we continue, I think it's important we give a little medical disclaimer. The information we're sharing today is for informational purposes only. We do not treat, we do not describe, we do not diagnose. We are not telling anyone to do an extended cleanse. We are telling you if you have certain health conditions, it may be worth your while to do a little bit of research and see if it's right for you. And as always, run any information past your medical provider. Okay, I'll let you have the floor back.
well, the first thing you said, don't use it for weight loss. It drives me crazy that Hollywood has taken like juice cleanses and turned it to some fad where you lose
Oh, I lost you.
weight. It's look, initially these were used for healing. I mean, you can go back all the way to the days of Rome when Rome was in, when they were powerful, they would use juice cleanses for healing. Hippocrates and all those people, they were doing it way back then. So but they knew that was for healing, and that's what me and Jennifer teach is, well, we learned at the School of Natural Healing that, well, there's different schools. We usually start with juice. Dr. Schultz started with juice, depending on how sick you were. The reason being is because digesting food takes a lot of energy. 60% of energy your body has used to digest food. So they found that if you do juices and eat foods that are really easy for the body to digest, when you free that energy up, that energy can go to heal whatever's going on within the body. So, and then over time, Dr. Christopher worked for a while. He started to realize that some conditions take longer than others. So they started to use what they called an extended cleanse. So, Jennifer, what is your take on the extended herbal cleanse? What would you
I've,
tell somebody to use it for?
whoa, okay. Once again, run any information past your medical provider. But I think most health conditions could use an extended cleanse. If you have any sort of food sensitivities, an extended cleanse can be great for you. We have so many people who they say, "Oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. I can't have any FODMAPs, I can't have any nightshades, whatever." And then they go for years and years and years without eating those foods. However, we all should be able to eat all these different foods, or I can't eat any foods with oxalates. That's a big one, or lectins, or whatever. If you have issues eating those foods, there's something going on in your body. You're missing specific microbes that need those. Like if it's oxalates, for example, you should have oxalobacter in your intestines. That is a bacteria that all of us should have, and it helps us to break down those oxalates so that we can extract minerals, the calcium and the minerals that are in those foods, and then we excrete. We shouldn't have any problems eating oxalates as long as we have the oxalobacter. But how do we get it in there? If we've been eating junk food, we've destroyed our microbiome, then we need to repair. And so one of the best things you can do is an extended cleanse to help that intestinal lining repair, and then add a lot, like when you do your cleanse, adding all the different herbs and different types of juices and even vegetable juices. It doesn't even have to be a juice. It can be a food. We can cleanse with foods even, but lots of variety to help get all of those microbes too. Depends on your health condition. But I really think that if you have any sort of food sensitivity, that is great. Once you repair, then you can start adding foods back, which is even better. If you have any type of allergies, if you have diabetes, you have to be very careful because of your medications. If you have heart disease, if you have an autoimmune condition, that's huge. And especially if you have cancer. I think cancer is probably number one. Dr. Christopher and Dr. Schultz both said there are no incurables. Dr. Morse says the same thing. And there are incurable people. There's some people who are incurable, especially if someone tells you you have 6 months to live, you're not even gonna, and you believe it, you're not even gonna make it the full 6 months. Those people would be the incurables. But if you believe I can beat this and you're willing to make the changes and you're willing to do the extended cleanses, then your odds are so much better of going beyond that.
I totally agree. And it's for a lot of people, it may be a leap of faith, but you have to understand that the body is really, really good at healing itself. It's just that our lifestyles today are so stressful. We eat so much processed foods and meat and dairy and all these things keep the body inflamed, and they drive, disease states. And so that's why I think one of the reasons people are so sick, we have a lot of sick people in the world today, especially in America. And it's one of the biggest factors is the diet that we are eating. So, I mean, but some people, you could tell them that and they don't want to give up their food, but then you have to go to, well, why do you want to get better? Do you have children? Do you have grandkids? Do you want to have a long life, So I don't know what I'm trying to get at. It's just that when I first learned that you can actually heal the body by changing the diet using herbs, I was all in because I've always had a health background. So I think everybody deserves to know this information, because you might be out there today and some doctor gave you 6 months to live. And if you believe that, like Jennifer's saying, well, you're probably going to die. But if you understand that, Dr. Schultz had people who were stage 4 when he was in practice, stage 4 cancer. And a lot of those people were able to reverse it. Now they would do some hardcore juice fasting and herbal cleansing and a lot of other things like exercise and meditation and prayer and a lot of things, and they would get better. Think
Yes.
about it. If your mother was sick and they told her she's going to die, you could tell her, well, there might be another solution.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, this is great for those of you looking for an alternative.
yeah, because Schultz said, hey,
Or
look, they asked me if I was worthy. They go, no, because the doctor said they were dead anyway. And then they come to me, so these people they're dead anyway.
yeah, they had nothing
So
to lose
yeah,
and
there's
only
nothing
to
to lose.
gain. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you are in that situation, do you want to continue with the chemo and the radiation, getting sicker and sicker and sicker? Or especially Dr. Schultz, what he found was he could give people not only years back or time back, maybe not even years, maybe months. Instead of 6 months, maybe they made it 10 months, but it was 10 months of being able to play with their grandchildren, go to the beach and things like that, instead of being hooked up to machines inside a hospital.
Yes,
It's all about quality of life. How do you want to end? Now, sometimes it worked even longer. People lasted longer, and a lot of times tumors even shrank and cancer went away too. And so I think if it were me and I was given a life sentence like that, that it would definitely be worth my while. And sometimes it can be done in conjunction with whatever medical therapy you choose. So you could do these other things while doing it. Now, Dr. Schultz wouldn't work with anyone who had radiation, but he would with people who went through chemo. And so if you did chemo with an extended cleanse like this, I'm not sure what Dr. Morse's stance is on that. So how does it work? How does an extended cleanse work?
Well, the Dr. Christopher extended cleanse, they actually have chart. So you start out now with his, you're probably going to start out with the 3-day cleanse where you use apple juice or carrot juice or grape juice, whatever juice you want to use. I prefer carrot juice because if you have cancer, there's a lot of research that carrot juice can help. So then after 3 days, you start on the mucusless diet, which we talk about. It's a plant-based diet, but you avoid foods that are mucus forming. And then you start to use Dr. Christopher's herbal cleansing formulas. He has one for the lower bowel, kidneys, liver, gallbladder, and bloodstream. The first week you start with the lower bowel and the kidney formula. The second week you add in the liver formula. So you're on the second week, it'd be lower bowel, kidney, and liver. And I think the fourth week you add in the blood cleansing formula. So, and you do this for 6 weeks. And then you take a week off. And then you go for 6 more weeks. And you do this for 6 months. And then you take 1 month off and you see where you're at. Like you go to the doctor, if you're going to the doctor and see how your health condition is doing. If it's not where you want it to be, then you go and do another 6 months. And so on and so forth. So is that the way you take it, Jennifer?
Yes, I've taken several people through it. I have a program. I'm gonna be changing it. By the time this episode comes out, I'll be in the middle of the next round, but I do take people through the extended herbal cleanse where we start with the lower bowel formula. We don't do the 3-day juice cleanse to start. We transition to whole food, plant-based mucusless diet first, as we're adding in the cleansing kit, lower bowel formula for a week or two, then the kidney formula, then the liver, and then the bloodstream. And then we do an extended liver cleanse. So then we do a week to 2 weeks, depending on where we are at that stage, of raw vegan, and then a juice cleanse, all still with the cleansing herbs. But yes, I agree with the same thing. Now, there are some people who do an extended juice cleanse where they do more than a couple of days of juices, do lots of juices. I'm not sure how I feel about that, doing multiple days of juicing, just because it's very difficult to get enough calories, and our body needs a certain amount of calories just to survive and thrive. Now, juicing can condense so that you get a lot of calories, but you're also missing fiber. I just don't know how long I would do it. Some people do water fasting. That's something I definitely think that you need to do with the medical provider. There are places you can go for water fasting. I know Dr. Goldhammer is one of them that has a program where people do that. But if you have severe conditions, sometimes that can help too. But even just juice cleanses a few days can even help with things like insulin resistance. If it's like a green juice, you could do a 3-day green juice cleanse to help with things like insulin resistance too. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, a few years ago, I did the 95-day juice cleanse. I don't know. I don't know if it was the smartest thing to do, but I just wanted to, it's because I teach a lot of things and I like to do them on myself first.
Me too.
These days, I'm kind of like with Jennifer. I don't know, like, do you have to do a 30-day juice cleanse to heal, or can you combine juices with raw foods? I think that, well, with Dr. Chris's programs, you would always eat, even on the juice stage, you would eat slippery elm gruel. I remember that part. So I think that I don't think that juicing and eating some raw food would really I think you still get great results with that because
Mhm. And when
especially yeah, go ahead.
when I do juice cleanses, I do use some slippery elm. I do like to use some slippery elm. And then Dr. Christopher also had us use molasses and apple cider vinegar, and garlic and cayenne,
Yeah.
which we haven't talked much about the herbs, but molasses is much lower glycemic than like honey, but it's very, very high in minerals. Molasses is the byproduct from when they make sugar, when they processing sugar is all the minerals and the goop that comes out of the processing. And so it's very high, it's very mineral rich. It's also a very easily assimilated form of your minerals, like especially iron. You can get iron and zinc from molasses, where it is absorbed better into your cells than other forms. Like you wouldn't want to take supplemental iron. That's definitely, please don't take that unless a doctor prescribes it. But even if a doctor, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. Never mind. Use some molasses. And then the apple cider vinegar too, to help with minerals. A unpasteurized apple cider vinegar with the mother, just to help with digestibility, help with gut health, and help with absorbing the minerals. And then the cayenne to help with circulation, and the garlic to help with all sorts of things, anti-inflammatories, antibacterial, antiviral, anything else that may be going on in the system. But I do like that he adds those to the juices.
Yeah, and I forgot that, what you're saying, slippery elm gruel, and you can actually even do blended flax seeds. These are things to do if you're doing juice. So you'll have a bowel movement. It helps push it through, because interestingly, when I did the 95-day juice fast, I had bowel movements every day.
Oh, wow.
And so, when Christopher would talk about, he would talk about how your colon, the fecal matter would get hard. You remember it could go in layers. And a lot of
Mucoid
people say
plaque.
it's a bunch of crap, right?
Mhm.
Literally. But I did 95
do
days,
too.
and I swear I kept going every single day for 95 days. And where was that coming from?
Yeah, you are full of it.
Yeah, I know. I may be full of it now. I don't. But yeah. So I that makes me believe his theory, because I don't know.
So if you were listening to our podcast right now and you were trying to decide if you should do a juice cleanse, maybe you have autoimmune condition or a heart condition or something, please use them. Please run any information by your medical provider. But what would you recommend them do? How would you recommend that they get started?
On a juice cleanse?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people there, if they're eating standard American diet, I mean, it could be done. It's going to be probably a little tougher at first because you're going to feel bad. But
Yeah,
if
you
it's
feel really
life or
bad.
death, I'll say, okay, I will warn them. You're probably going to feel like crap for a few
I think
days.
this was a mistake.
Yeah. Because see, a juice cleanse is probably one of the most powerful. It's a very deep cleanse, very deep. You really start to stir up a lot of toxic buildup in the body. So I would say, now that when I recommend juice cleanses, you talk about calories, I recommend at least a gallon juice a day. And, a lot of green juices, like back in the day, I would recommend more fruit, but the more I've studied, for a lot of people, they would be better off with more vegetable juices, because a lot of people have insulin resistance in America because of our crappy lifestyle. So I would recommend more juices with celery, cucumbers, summer squashes, things like that. And I would recommend at least a gallon a day. And the way Jennifer was saying, I remember now that I would use nutritional yeast. That I would use that. I would use the superfood or the Jurassic Greens and Vital Herbs from Dr. Christopher. I would use a lot of those. And I would use something like flaxseed, ground flax seeds, or slippery elm to make sure our bowels keep going, because we have to keep going, because that's how you get it out of the body. I would also recommend a lot of moderate exercise where you're sweating, but not killing yourself, like walking, a daily walk, and maybe some rebounding on a mini trampoline to get the lymphatic system going, to make sure all these toxins keep coming out of the body. I would recommend a lot of relaxation and prayer. And you have to make sure you're still drinking plenty of water, plenty of distilled water. A lot of people go on a juice fast and think they don't need water anymore. This isn't true. You want to make sure you're drinking distilled water, because this water can also help bind some of the toxins and take them out of your body. And also we're going to add in the herbs of cleansing. We're going to do the lower bowel. We're going to do the kidney herbs. We're going to do the liver herbs in the bloodstream. I combine those with the juice fast. So is there something that I'm leaving out, or you would recommend, Jennifer?
No, that was great. And the herbs are so important too.
Oh
not
yeah.
only for cleansing, but because they provide nutrients. And so a lot of times I will recommend people have herbal tea as
Yes.
well. And sometimes even wake up with a cleansing drink first, especially water. You know, we get dehydrated when we sleep. We don't think about that, but waking up and having a large glass of water, adding lemon juice to it is an excellent idea. Something to help with cleansing too. So, but the water, I'm so glad you added the water. But yeah, so you might feel like you're floating. I know when I do it, you know, the gallon of juice is an awful lot of juice, and some days I just get to where I can't drink all of this. And so
Yeah.
people are afraid they're going to get hungry. Now, for me, I love the carrot juice, and the carrot juice is an excellent, excellent idea. And I love that. I know you recently did a video with using carrot juice for cancer too. And that is interesting. And, you know, so many people struggle with getting vitamin A. They have genetic tendencies where they can't convert. I'm one of them. You know, there's people who their skin can tend to be orange because they're just not converting that vitamin A. And so carrot juice is great, especially for anyone with cancer or autoimmune disease. Carrot juice is great, but it gets too sweet. The same with the other ones. They get too sweet. And so they taste delicious. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't handle anything sweet anymore. So I really struggle with the mono juices, which Dr. Christopher always recommended that we stick with one fruit and drink that, or
Yeah.
carrots, and drink that all day, you know, for 3 days. And I really struggle with that. I like more variety. Like you said, I really like the green juices best. I like to add a half an apple and lemon to my green juices, just to give it a little more flavor, but I also like the other benefits of apple and lemon. Um, because the apple has the malic acid, which helps to soften any stones. So we don't think about it. So even the way we've been eating after years and years of eating whole food plant-based, eating really clean, we still have, like, I had 40 something years of crap
Yeah.
in me. Yes. And so I know that there's stones. I mean, my favorite thing in the world was um, pork fat. Like, I loved barbecue and eating the fat chunks in there. It makes people throw up. They think that's so disgusting. I loved it. And so, and dairy, up until 10 years ago, I drank more chocolate milk than anyone else in the world. Like,
Oh.
that's probably why the dairy companies are failing, because I gave up milk. And we would buy a couple of gallons of milk for me alone. Um, even when we lived here in this house, and we've only been in this house 10 years. And so that recently. And so I have 40 something years of debris that I need to clean out. So I'll do like the apples for the malic acid, as well the other ingredients in there, and the lemon as well for the extra vitamin C. Even though when you juice your greens, you're getting lots of vitamin C, but there's other items I don't peel the lemons when I put them through the juicer, because I like the limonene that's in the citrus peel. It helps with detoxification too.
Wow, I never thought about juicing a whole lemon. I bet, is it bitter?
It does give a little bit of bitterness. Sometimes if I'm feeling like can't handle the bitter today, then I'll just get a peeler and just peel around some of it, so that I'm
Yeah.
still getting some of that limonene in there. But I do that. I like, it's so easy just to throw in the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, lemons are very healing. We could make a whole video or a podcast on just lemons probably.
We could. Now, do you have a certain type of, now, extended cleanse does not have to be juicing. Like, you can cleanse with food. I even have a program where I put people through just a whole food cleanse for
Just
5 days, but just because it's such a big change from the way people are normally eating, you know,
oh yeah.
completely processed food free, you know, no processed foods and no inflammatory foods for 5 days is really great. I mean, it's amazing the people who go through that after 3 days, they're like, I can't believe how good I feel just
Uh-huh.
eating food. So that can be a good cleanse.
Oh yeah.
Or taking a step further and doing raw foods, you know, we both were talking about that. By the time this episode airs, it'll be mid to late summer. But we will probably both be eating completely raw foods. I like raw
Oh
foods in
yeah.
the summertime.
Summer's perfect for that. I love it, man.
Mhm. Yeah, and that can be a good
Salads and
cleanse right there.
fruits. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If you go from standard diet to a raw food diet, holy crap, you're going to see so many changes in your body and your health, and you're going to feel so much better.
Yes.
I mean,
So for someone who they're not doing the full extended cleanse, or maybe they are doing the full extended cleanse, but they don't have Dr. Christopher's products, what herbs or herbal teas or what would you think, what would you suggest they use while they do an extended cleanse?
I like red clover.
Oh, yeah.
It's Alteriv. It's a blood cleanser. Another good one would be burdock roots, another blood cleanser. If you have cancer, well, red clover or chaparral. Chaparral's a good one. I think it tastes really, it doesn't taste good, but it's a very powerful herb. I would also recommend, if you can afford some of Dr. Schultz's products, his herbal mucil is really good. I think it's like $40. You could get an organic psyllium seed or psyllium powder. And that's pretty cheap, and that'll help get the bowels going.
Yeah.
I would recommend a lot of garlic because of we're going to talk about garlic probably next podcast. But
Yes.
garlic has a lot of health benefits. I mean, there's over 2,000 studies on garlic for over the last decade. I mean,
Wow.
it's amazing herb.
Yes.
What about you, Jennifer? What do you, if they can't get the cleansing kit?
They can't get the cleansing kit. I really like nettles. I think it's very important to get minerals.
Yes.
Maybe not an herb, but sea vegetables. If there's a way to get any sort of sea vegetables in, nori flakes. So we don't support certain companies or have an affiliate, but I really love Maine Coast Foods sea salt with sea vegetables. I don't know if you've seen it, but you can buy it. You can buy a bulk, a pound of this sea salt that has sea vegetables mixed in it. And when you open it, it doesn't smell really great, but you don't taste the sea vegetables at all. And it's just a great way. So people are really concerned about salt too. I know David Christopher says we shouldn't eat salt. But if you have had years of chronic stress, Daniel and I have both had that. Sometimes salt is important for you. And if you like, I've gone for years and years and years not adding any salts to my foods. And when I went to culinary arts school, oh my gosh, that was in 2000, 2001. My teacher would always get mad at me for not giving enough, not mad at me. She'd always tell me I'm not putting enough salt in my food, but it tasted so salty to me. And I didn't want to add more salt because I had never used salt, but then I was also under lots and lots of stress. And we know that we need salt to balance the electrolytes and for the adrenals. So for some, you're under a lot of stress, you have adrenal dysfunction, salt is good for you. So I don't know where I got off on that soapbox. Sea vegetables. So that's just an easy way to get sea vegetables. You can also buy like dulse flakes and sprinkle them on, or seaweed snacks or nori, and put your salad in a strap of nori. So I do love sea vegetables. I think that's very important, whether you're an extended cleanse or not. I love the nettle tea, red raspberry leaf tea. That's another great one, very high in minerals. As far as cleansing goes, Cascara sagrada to help make sure the bowels are moving. I believe that one's pretty safe as a single herb. Usually it is combined with other herbs. You may want to combine it with some ginger or something just to make sure there's no cramping or anything, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty safe for everyone. As far as the kidneys go, maybe taking a little bit of uva ursi or juniper berries would be great to help cleanse the kidneys. When you get to the liver, I really like, and the gallbladder, dandelion. You already mentioned the burdock root, but dandelion. Get dandelion, grow dandelion in your garden. Dandelion leaves, chewing on the leaves before you eat, juicing the leaves. Those are great things to do for the liver and the gallbladder. And then you already mentioned, red clover is key. I do make broth when I forgot about that. So I use broths, potassium broth. Dr. Christopher, Dr. Schultz, they recommend potassium broth as well. And so I will make a broth with like potato peels and carrots, and I always throw in burdock root and kelp in there, in bladder wrack recently too, which tastes. Anyway, I'll make a broth with that. You don't taste the bladder wrack in the broth, and then strain it. And I'll put that in the dehydrator after I cook it, of course. On the days I'm juicing, I'll set the broth in the dehydrator just to have a nice, warm, comforting broth, because sometimes you can get really cold when you're juicing. And it just really helps me just to feel a little more comforting. It also makes me feel more like I've had some food I'm drinking that broth. But those are just some other things that I like to add. I like having something with the flaxseed, chia seeds, or psyllium in between some juices in there, just to help to bind to anything that's been pulled out, especially like heavy metals. Especially if you drink a juice that's high in cilantro or chlorella or something that's going to be removing some heavy metals, you definitely want to get those out of the body quickly. And so having something like that to bind and move it out and to keep the bowels moving.
Wow, that's excellent, excellent tips. I
Okay.
think I think that covers everything that I wanted to cover.
Yeah. So maybe one other thing that I was thinking was foods. So if you are
Yeah,
cleansing with foods, making sure that they are easily digestible.
yeah.
So like our most recent juice cleanse we went to blended
Hmm.
foods and then the juice cleanse, and then we went back to blended foods before we added chewy. For me, I don't know how you did juicing that long because I like to chew. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I could possibly do that. Because even just doing, we did the blended meals for 2 days, only 1 day juice cleanse, 2 days of blended. I don't even think I made it the whole 2 days blended at the end. I ended up steaming vegetables and eating steamed vegetables. But you don't want to go from a juice cleanse to a raw salad. So I love my daily raw salads, but if I go from juice cleansing for several days and then I eat a raw salad, especially if it has like raw cabbages or something like that, I'm going to have stomach cramps and cramping. So I think it's a good idea to have some steamed foods or start with some easily digestible foods to help break that juice fast.
Yes, I forgot about that part. I'm glad you added that in because yeah, you don't want to go straight from a juice fast to solid food. That'd be a uh let's just say your stomach's not going to be very happy about that.
No, it's not.
Uh,
Slowly introducing
yeah.
those foods. But that salad was so delicious when I finally ate my salad.
Oh, that's a bonus. That's a bonus to do some juice cleansing. Food tastes so much better when you eat it again. Oh,
Yes, yes,
I did notice
yes,
though during our last cleanse, the blended foods. When I was doing the blended foods, my digestion was so good. It's
yes.
like I didn't want to stop.
Yeah, it's hard. You don't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
So before we wrap it up, what are some other things that you would do as well? I mean, you talked about the meditation and you started talking about walking, but I was thinking like tongue cleansing when you said the food tastes so good. I like using a tongue cleaner, and I've really gotten to where now every time I brush my teeth, I floss and I use the tongue. It's just automatic. I don't even think about it. My taste buds, I just really taste food so much
Huh.
better now. I'm just
Yeah.
using that. But when you sleep, your tongue can get coated when you go through a cleanse. Your
Oh,
body's kicking off all these toxins. And so you'll wake up and you're like, what's going on with my tongue? And so the tongue cleanser really helps. Dry skin brushing
yeah.
while you're doing an extended cleanse, just to help moving the lymph. So dry skin brushing isn't, I mean, it does help to exfoliate your skin, but it also helps to move the lymph, which doesn't have a pump. And so I really do like that as well.
Also, like if I'm in a cleanse, I like to do 10 or 15 minutes in the sun without my shirt to get vitamin
Mm,
D. And sun has great healing power. Just don't overdo it. Don't let yourself get burned. I actually do that all the time in the summer because I don't take vitamin D, so I try to get sun. And what was I gonna say? You can also do contrast baths, hot and cold showers. Those help.
yeah,
Um,
especially for cancers.
yes, you can actually, well, Dr. Schultz had them do it over their tumors back in the
Right.
day. He said it would help break them down. Um, so I know there's something I'm forgetting, but I can't.
Castor oil packs.
Yes, yes, yes. Over the liver and gallbladder. Yes.
Yes. And over the abdomen, if do find that you're not going to the bathroom, you're not eliminating, then even over the bladder um, or over the colon. I do like to alternate when I'm cleansing. I do the liver, gallbladder 1 day and the lower bowel the next day.
Hmm. I don't
So
know.
maybe yep. Anyway, I hope that this episode was helpful for you. If you would like to learn more about extended cleanses, or want to hear any more information or have some information to share with us, we love to hear from you. So please tell us everything you want to know and tell us everything you think we should know. We want to hear. So thank you for listening today. Please join us again next week.